The large meeting chamber of the Galactic Confederation fell silent as Admiral Zix entered. His blue scales glistened under the soft light and his four eyes blinked nervously. The other alien representatives, some with tentacles, others with multiple limbs, and a few that looked like floating clouds, all turned to watch him. "We have detected a signal," Zix said, his translator device converting his clicks and whistles into the common galactic language. "It comes from an unexplored sector in the spiral arm of the galaxy." The room buzzed with excitement. The Confederation, made up of over 30 peaceful species, always looked forward to meeting new civilizations. They had a perfect record of incorporating new species into their alliance. "What do we know about the planet?" asked Counselor Mipa, her gelatinous body wobbling slightly. Admiral Zix projected a hologram in the center of the room. A blue and green planet appeared, spinning slowly to reveal continents and vast oceans. "It is troubling," Zix said. "Our initial scans show this planet has conditions that should make advanced life impossible." The assembled aliens murmured in surprise. "The gravity is nearly twice what most of us consider comfortable. The atmosphere contains oxygen, a highly corrosive gas. Temperature variations range from freezing to boiling within the same regions. There are frequent natural disasters, storms, floods, earthquakes, and the wildlife." Zix paused, his scales changing color with emotion. "The wildlife is aggressive and predatory." "A death world," whispered an elderly representative from the back. The term sent a chill through the chamber. Death worlds were planets so hostile that intelligent life rarely evolved past basic survival. The few known death world species in the galaxy were primitive and typically violent. Yet the signals we detected are unmistakably from an advanced civilization, Zix continued. "They have developed radio technology, artificial satellites, and primitive space travel." "Impossible," shouted someone. "No species could advance that far while fighting such hostile conditions." Zix changed the hologram. Now it showed images captured from the planet's broadcasts. The aliens watched in horrified fascination as the inhabitants of this world, bipedal, creatures with minimal protection from the elements, engaged in activities that seemed suicidal. They saw humans climbing frozen mountains without environmental suits, humans diving into deep oceans with only thin coverings, humans racing vehicles at deadly speeds, humans lifting weights that would crush most Confederation species. "They call themselves humans," Zix explained, "and their world is Earth." The science director, a spindly creature named Trelk, floated forward on his gravity pad. "They appeared to not only survive but thrive in their hostile environment. Our psychological analysis of their broadcasts suggests they even enjoy danger. They deliberately seek out challenges and risks." The room erupted into chaotic debate. Some representatives argued for immediate quarantine of this potentially dangerous species. Others insisted on the Confederation's duty to welcome all intelligent life. Finally, High Chancellor Vorn, the oldest and wisest among them, raised her many-fingered hands for silence. "We have always prided ourselves on being a peaceful coalition that welcomes diversity," she said slowly. "We cannot judge this species based on fear. We must learn more." And so the decision was made. The Confederation would send their best diplomatic team to make first contact with the humans of Earth. They chose Ambassador Leary to lead the mission, a respected diplomat from a species known for calm, reasoning, and empathy. 3 months later, the Confederation's most advanced ship emerged from faster-than-light travel near Earth's moon. They watched the blue planet with a mixture of fear and fascination. "So much water," commented Navigator Pell, shuddering at the thought of all that dangerous liquid. "And look at their cities," said Security Chief Drax. "Built right on fault lines, in floodplains and near active volcanoes. These creatures seem to ignore danger." Ambassador Leary studied the reports flowing in. "They are currently engaged in conflicts among themselves," she noted with concern. "Multiple armed disputes across their planet. Should we abort?" asked Drax hopefully. "No," Leary decided. "We have come to learn. We will proceed with caution." The ship sent a simple greeting message to all Earth's major communication networks. The response was not what they expected. Instead of fear or aggression, the humans responded with overwhelming excitement and curiosity. World leaders quickly established a unified response team, and within days, a meeting was arranged. The Confederation team chose a neutral location, a human space station orbiting Earth. They arrived in their smallest shuttle, wearing protective suits against the oxygen atmosphere and the higher gravity that humans preferred. When the airlock opened, Ambassador Leary was the first to step forward. Despite her preparation, the sight of humans up close shocked her. They were taller than expected, with only 2 legs and 2 arms, but they moved with surprising speed and coordination. Their faces had exposed skin, with bizarre features, forward-facing eyes, protruding noses, and mouths filled with sharp teeth. "Welcome to Earth space," said the human leader, a woman named Director Chen. "We are honored by your visit." Leary bowed slightly, careful not to strain her exoskeleton. "The Galactic Confederation greets Earth with peaceful intentions. We seek knowledge and friendship." What followed was 6 hours of careful conversation. The humans were surprisingly calm about meeting aliens, though they asked endless questions. The Confederation team was continuously surprised by human behavior. During a short break, one human casually drank a liquid that contained enough caffeine to paralyze most Confederation species. Another ate food containing capsaicin, a defense chemical that would be considered a biological weapon on many planets. Most disturbing to the aliens was how the humans moved. They seemed unaffected by the gravity that forced the visitors to use mobility aids. The humans bounded around the room, gesturing widely, occasionally touching each other in what they called friendly pats that would have broken the bones of most alien species. "You must tell us about your homeworlds," said Director Chen eagerly. "Are they like Earth?" Ambassador Leary exchanged glances with her team. "No," she said carefully. "Most inhabited worlds in our Confederation have much milder conditions. Lower gravity, more stable weather, fewer predators, less extreme temperatures." "That sounds boring," said one of the younger human delegates, then quickly apologized for the outburst. As the meeting continued, the Confederation team began to understand something profound. These humans had not just survived their harsh world, they had been shaped by it. Every challenge had pushed them to become stronger, more inventive, more determined. Before departing, Ambassador Leary presented a formal invitation for Earth to send representatives to the Confederation's central worlds. The humans accepted with enthusiasm. Back on their ship, the alien team held a private meeting. "They are dangerous," said Security Chief Drax. "Did you see their muscles? Their speed? I estimate a single human could overpower 5 of our strongest species. But they showed no hostility," countered Ambassador Leary. "Only curiosity and friendliness." Admiral Zix, who had joined the mission at the last moment, looked troubled. "Both observations are correct, and that is what concerns me. Their physical capabilities combined with their technology could make them a serious threat, if they wanted to be." "So what do we report to the Confederation?" asked Navigator Pell. Ambassador Leary thought carefully before answering. "We tell them the truth. Earth is indeed a death world, and humans are indeed shaped by its harshness. But we also tell them something unexpected. These Deathworlders may be the most important discovery in Confederation history. They have strengths we lack, perspectives we need, and an incredible will to survive. They could be our greatest allies or our worst nightmare." As their ship accelerated away from Earth, the aliens looked back at the blue planet. None of them knew what would come from this first contact, but all felt that the galaxy had just changed forever. The Deathworlders had been discovered, and nothing would be the same again. 6 months after first contact, the Galactic Confederation Central Space Station Harmony was in a state of carefully managed chaos. For the first time, human representatives would visit the heart of galactic civilization. Safety protocols had been rewritten dozens of times. Medical teams stood by with specialized equipment. Security forces received new training. "Are we overreacting?" asked Junior Diplomat Trill, watching workers install reinforced flooring in the human quarters. Ambassador Leary sighed. "Perhaps, but remember what happened during the second contact meeting." Everyone remembered. A friendly human delegate had slapped the back of an alien diplomat in a gesture of goodwill. The alien's exoskeleton had cracked, requiring emergency medical attention. The human had been horrified, apologizing profusely. It was a perfect example of the challenges they faced. The Confederation's main concern was simple. Humans came from a high-gravity world with harsh conditions, giving them physical capabilities that seemed almost supernatural to other species. A casual gesture from a human could seriously injure most aliens. and humans themselves seemed oddly unaware of their own strength. The human ship arrived right on schedule. It was smaller than most Confederation vessels, but built with a solid, practical design that impressed the alien engineers. The 12 human delegates emerged from their ship looking around with obvious excitement. Ambassador Leary stepped forward to greet them, keeping a safe distance. "Welcome to Harmony Station, representatives of Earth. We are honored by your presence." The lead human, a tall man named Ambassador Jackson, smiled broadly. "The honor is ours, Ambassador Leary. Earth thanks you for this historic opportunity." The formal greeting ceremony proceeded without incident, though many alien representatives flinched whenever the humans moved suddenly. The humans noticed this reaction and began moving more slowly, speaking more softly. "We've frightened them," whispered Dr. Elena Rodriguez to Ambassador Jackson as they walked through the station's grand hallway. "They see us as dangerous." Jackson nodded slightly. "Proceed with extra caution. Remember your training. The first few days of diplomatic meetings went well enough." The humans were given a tour of the station, introduced to representatives from 28 alien species, and shown the basics of Confederation technology. They were careful to move slowly and avoid physical contact with the aliens, but tensions began to build. The humans found the station uncomfortably cold and the gravity frustratingly low. They had to wear special weighted boots just to walk normally. Everything seemed delicate to them. The furniture bent under their weight. Doors opened too easily and food was bland and soft. Meanwhile, the aliens watched in horror as humans engaged in their daily exercise routines. In the special gym created for them, humans lifted weights that could crush most alien species. They ran at speeds that seemed impossible. They casually discussed hobbies like rock climbing and deep sea diving that sounded like suicide missions to the Confederation species. On the 5th day, the first serious incident occurred. During a shared meal, a human delegate named Carlos dropped his fork. Without thinking, he reached under the table to retrieve it, accidentally bumping the table with his shoulder. The seemingly gentle bump sent the entire table flipping upward, spraying food across the room and injuring 2 smaller alien delegates. "I'm so sorry," Carlos exclaimed, rushing to help, which only caused more panic as aliens scattered from his approach. Security forces entered the room, pointing strange devices at Carlos. The other humans immediately stood, taking defensive postures. "Please, everyone remain calm," Ambassador Leary said, raising her forearms. It was an accident. The tension slowly dissipated, but the damage was done. That evening, the Confederation Council held an emergency meeting. "They are too dangerous," insisted Security Chief Drax. "Every movement they make threatens injury to our people." "But they have shown no aggressive intent," countered Leary. "They are trying to be careful." "Hi." Chancellor Vorn listened to both sides before speaking. "The humans have remarkable physical abilities, yes. But what concerns me more is their mentality. They take risks without hesitation. They seem to enjoy facing danger. This makes them unpredictable." The debate continued late into the night. Finally, a compromise was reached. The diplomatic mission would continue, but with enhanced safety measures. The humans were not pleased when they learned of the new restrictions. They would now be accompanied by security teams at all times. Certain areas of the station were declared off-limits. Physical activities were further restricted. "They're treating us like we're made of explosives," complained Dr. Rodriguez during a private meeting in the human quarters. "We can't even walk down a hallway without an escort." Ambassador Jackson tried to remain positive. "Try to see it from their perspective. We're from a world they consider almost uninhabitable. Our physical capabilities frighten them." "But that's not fair," said Carlos, still upset about the table incident. "We're being judged for how we were born, for being strong. No different than how humans have judged each other for centuries," Jackson reminded them. "We need to be patient." The next day, the humans requested permission to demonstrate their culture through a musical performance. After much debate, the Confederation agreed. The performance was held in the main gathering hall. Hundreds of aliens watched nervously as the humans set up instruments, simple percussion and string devices they had brought from Earth. What followed surprised everyone. The music began softly, with gentle rhythms that even the most sensitive alien ears found pleasant. Gradually it built in complexity and volume. 2 humans began to dance, their movements controlled yet expressive. The audience watched in fascination as the dancers moved in perfect coordination. demonstrating both strength and gentle grace. When the performance ended, there was a moment of silence before the alien audience erupted in appreciative sounds, whistles, clicks, hums, and glowing colors. "They are more than their physical strength," Ambassador Leary said quietly to Chancellor Vorn. "They have art, beauty, discipline." The performance helped ease tensions. But cultural misunderstandings continued. The humans found Confederation decision-making frustratingly slow. The aliens found human directness bordering on offensive. During a technology exchange meeting, a human engineer named Dr. Patel became impatient with the cautious approach of the alien scientists. "This design is inefficient," he said, pointing to a power system schematic. "With a few changes, you could double its output." The alien engineers were shocked by this blunt criticism. In their culture, such directness was extremely rude. But before they could respond, Dr. Patel started sketching modifications, his excitement overriding his diplomatic training. "Look, if you reconfigure this connection and add a secondary cooling system here, the whole thing runs much better. We solved this problem on Earth decades ago." The lead alien engineer, a tentacled being named Scientific Director Quor, trembled with what humans would later learn was a mixture of insult and fear. "Our systems are designed for safety and reliability, not maximum power," he said stiffly. Dr. Patel looked up, suddenly realizing his mistake. "I'm sorry if I spoke too directly. I meant no disrespect. It's just that where I come from, efficiency is highly valued." Director Quor's tentacles twisted in agitation. "Where you come from, you also value recklessness. Your species takes pride in unnecessary risks." The exchange deteriorated further, ending with both sides retreating to their respective quarters. That night, Ambassador Jackson received a formal complaint about human behavior. "We need to adapt," he told his team. "We're the visitors here. Their ways are different, but we must respect them." Dr. Rodriguez disagreed. "We're walking on eggshells, literally and figuratively. We can't share ideas, we can't move normally, we can't even laugh too loudly without causing alarm." "Give it time," Jackson urged. "This is just the beginning." 2 weeks into the diplomatic mission, both sides were frustrated. The humans felt restricted and misunderstood. The aliens remained fearful and confused by human behavior. Then came an incident that would change everything. During a tour of the station's power core, a critical system suddenly failed. Warning lights flashed as a containment field began to collapse. The alien technicians froze in panic. According to all safety protocols, the area should be evacuated immediately. But 2 human engineers, Dr. Patel and his colleague Dr. Kim, did the unthinkable. Instead of running away, they ran toward the failing system. "What are you doing?" screamed a security officer. "That area is about to be flooded with radiation." The humans ignored the warning. Moving with shocking speed and coordination, they manually overrode the failing system. Dr. Kim held a heavy component in place while Dr. Patel rewired the controls, their hands moving through spaces too narrow for the alien engineers' tools. Within 3 minutes, they had stabilized the system. When they stepped back, their faces were covered in sweat, but they were smiling. "All fixed," Dr. Patel said casually. "You might want to check the secondary couplings, though." They looked worn. The alien stared in disbelief. The 2 humans had just survived radiation levels that would have killed most species. They had manually handled components that required special tools for the alien engineers. And they had done it all without hesitation. That evening, Chancellor Vorn requested a private meeting with Ambassador Jackson. 3 months after humans first visited the Galactic Confederation's Central Space Station, an uneasy balance had been established. Humans were now regular visitors to Confederation space, though still regarded with caution. Several trade agreements had been signed, allowing for limited exchange of technology and resources. On Earth, alien visitors had become a common sight in specially designed facilities. Humans were fascinated by their new galactic neighbors, while the aliens were both terrified and intrigued by Earth's harsh conditions. Ambassador Jackson had just finished a successful negotiation for the exchange of medical knowledge when the emergency alarm sounded throughout Harmony. "Station, what's happening?" he asked the nearest alien official. "Central Command has called an emergency session," replied the nervous aide. "All senior representatives must attend." In the Great Council Chamber, representatives from all 28 Confederation species gathered in a state of obvious distress. Screens around the room showed images of a distant space station engulfed in flames. High Chancellor Vorn stood at the center, her usually calm features tight with concern. "Outpost 17 has been attacked," she announced. "Our scientific research facility near the Norillion Nebula has been almost completely destroyed." Gasps and clicks of dismay filled the room. "Who would do this?" demanded Ambassador Leary. "The Confederation has no enemies." Security Chief Drax stepped forward. The attackers identified themselves as the Vrexian Dominion. They claim the territory around the nebula as their own, though they have never established contact with us before. "Were there survivors?" asked a representative from a crystalline species. "Very few," Drax replied grimly. The attack was swift and without warning. Most of the 200 researchers and staff were killed. Ambassador Jackson listened with growing concern. He had never seen the peaceful Confederation representative so shaken. For a civilization that had known only peace for centuries, this violent attack was incomprehensible. Chancellor Vorn continued. "The Vrexians sent a message after the attack. They demand we remove all Confederation presence from that sector within 30 days or face further military action." The chamber erupted in fearful debate. Most representatives argued for immediate withdrawal from the disputed territory. Others suggested attempting further diplomatic contact. None proposed military resistance. Jackson exchanged glances with the other human delegates. On Earth, such an unprovoked attack would never go unanswered. But the Confederation operated differently. "Chancellor," Jackson said, rising to his feet. "May the Earth delegation speak?" Vorn nodded. "We welcome your perspective, Ambassador Jackson. The loss of life at Outpost 17 is tragic. On behalf of humanity, I offer our deepest condolences." Jackson paused, choosing his words carefully. "But I must ask, what defense capabilities does the Confederation possess?" An uncomfortable silence fell over the chamber. "We maintain a small security fleet," Security Chief Drax finally answered. "But its purpose is civil protection and emergency response, not warfare. We have not faced an external threat in over 300 years. Jackson nodded slowly. "And what do we know about these Vrexians?" "Very little," admitted Drax. "Our preliminary scans suggest they are a reptilian species from a heavy gravity world, similar in some ways to Earth, though not as extreme. Their technology appears advanced, particularly their weapons systems." "Another Deathworld species," murmured Chancellor Vorn. "Perhaps that explains their aggression." Jackson stepped forward. "Chancellor, members of the Confederation, Earth has extensive experience with conflict resolution, both peaceful and, when necessary, through strength. We would be willing to assist in this situation." "What are you suggesting?" asked Leary, her four eyes blinking rapidly. "Let us send some of our ships to help evacuate the remaining outposts in the disputed sector. At the same time, we can gather intelligence on these Vrexians." After much debate, the Confederation agreed to Jackson's proposal. It was a modest step, but more decisive than anything they had considered on their own. Within 2 days, 3 human ships arrived at Harmony Station, ready to assist. The alien representatives watched in amazement as the human vessels docked. They were smaller than Confederation ships, but bristled with features that the peaceful aliens recognized as weapons. The human crews moved with a discipline and purpose that seemed almost aggressive to Confederation sensibilities. Captain Maria Chen, commanding the lead human ship Defiant, met with the Confederation Security Council to coordinate the evacuation plan. "We'll escort your transport ships to the research outposts near the nebula," she explained, pointing to a holographic map. "Our vessels will provide security while your people evacuate." "And if the Vrexians attack during the evacuation?" asked Drax nervously. Captain Chen's expression hardened. "We'll handle it." The Confederation representatives exchanged worried glances. The human captain's confidence was both reassuring and frightening. 3 days later, the mixed fleet approached the first research outpost. The human ships took protective positions around the larger unarmed Confederation transports. The evacuation began smoothly, with the station's 40 scientists and their research materials being transferred to the transport vessels. Then, without warning, 3 Vrexian warships appeared from behind a nearby moon. "Confederation vessels," came a harsh transmission. "You were ordered to vacate this territory. Your presence here is a declaration of war." Before the Confederation captain could respond, Captain Chen cut in on the communication channel. This is Captain Chen of the Earth vessel Defiant. We are conducting a peaceful evacuation of civilian researchers. Stand down and allow us to complete our mission." There was a pause before the Vrexian responded. "Earth? We know nothing of this world or species. This matter does not concern you. We are allies of the Galactic Confederation," Chen replied firmly. "Their concerns are ours." The Vrexian ships began to advance, weapons systems visibly charging. The Confederation transport captain froze in panic. This was exactly the conflict they had hoped to avoid. But Captain Chen and her crew reacted with practiced efficiency. The 3 human ships moved into an attack formation that put them between the Vrexian vessels and the Confederation transports. "Last warning," Chen transmitted to the Vrexians. "Back off or we will defend ourselves and our allies." The Vrexians responded by firing a warning shot that passed just over the human ships. What followed shocked both the Vrexians and the watching Confederation crews. The human ships moved with incredible speed and coordination, their defensive systems activating instantly. Return fire from the Defiant struck one Vrexian ship with precision, disabling its main weapon array without destroying the vessel. The other 2 human ships performed equally targeted strikes, crippling the Vrexian ship's engines and weapons while carefully avoiding critical life support systems. In less than 4 minutes, all 3 Vrexian warships were disabled but intact. No lives had been lost on either side. "This is Captain Chen to Vrexian vessels," came the transmission. "Your ships are disabled, but your life support remains functional. We will allow you to send a distress call to your people for assistance. Consider this a demonstration of restraint, not weakness." Back at Harmony Station, the Confederation Council watched the recorded battle in stunned silence. They had never seen such efficient military action. The precision of the human attacks, the speed of their decision-making, the effectiveness of their tactics, it was both impressive and terrifying. "They disabled 3 warships without destroying them," whispered Chancellor Vorn. "Is that even possible?" "Apparently so," replied Security Chief Drax. "The humans showed both superior firepower and remarkable restraint. The successful evacuation should have eased tensions, but it had the opposite effect. Many Confederation representatives now feared human military capabilities as much as they feared the Vrexians. Others argued that an alliance with Earth was their only protection against future aggression. A week later, the Confederation received a transmission from the Vrexian Dominion. It was not what anyone expected. "The Vrexian Dominion demands direct communication with these humans who interfered in our rightful territorial expansion," stated the message. "We will not deal with the weak species of the Confederation." Ambassador Jackson and Chancellor Vorn discussed this unexpected development privately. "They're trying to divide us," Jackson observed. "Classic tactic, separate the strong from the weak, then conquer each separately. And how would Earth respond to such a request?" Vorn asked carefully. Jackson smiled grimly. "We would insist that any negotiations include our Confederation allies. We stand together." Vorn's expression showed relief. "You are loyal allies. But I must confess, Ambassador, many in the Confederation now fear Earth's military capabilities as much as they fear the Vrexians." "I understand their concern," Jackson replied. "Humanity's history is filled with conflict. We've learned to fight well because we've had to, but we've also learned when not to fight." Before Vorn could respond, an aide rushed into the room. "Chancellor, urgent news. The Vrexians have launched a major attack on Outpost 21. They've bypassed the evacuation fleet and struck directly at our largest research facility in the sector." Vorn's color paled. "How many people?" "Over F?" News of the human victory against the Vrexian forces spread quickly throughout the galaxy. On thousands of worlds, aliens gathered around communication devices to watch footage of the battle. They saw human ships moving with incredible speed and precision. They heard stories of human captains making decisions in seconds that would have taken Confederation committees hours to debate. "The Deathworlders saved us" became a common phrase, spoken with a mixture of gratitude and fear. In the 2 months following the battle at Outpost 21, human presence in Confederation space increased dramatically. Military advisors from Earth worked with Confederation security forces. Human engineers helped upgrade the defenses of key installations. Human diplomats attended every major Confederation meeting. Not everyone welcomed this growing influence. A significant faction within the Confederation, led by the philosophically inclined Tellurians, argued against closer ties with Earth. "We are becoming dependent on these humans," warned Elder Sovan of the Tellurians during a council session. "Their ways are not our ways. They solve problems through force where we have always sought peaceful solutions." Ambassador Jackson listened to these concerns without interruption. When invited to respond, he stepped to the center of the council chamber. "Earth respects the Confederation's peaceful traditions," he said. "We have no desire to change who you are. But the galaxy has changed around you. The Vrexians will not stop their aggression because you wish for peace. So you propose we become more like humans?" asked Elder Sovan. "That we embrace conflict?" "No," Jackson replied firmly. "I propose that humans handle the conflict while the Confederation continues its vital work of scientific discovery, cultural exchange, and peaceful cooperation. Each of us contributes what we do best." The debate continued for weeks. Meanwhile, human analysts worked to understand the Vrexian threat. Intelligence gathered during the battles revealed disturbing information. In a secure briefing room aboard Harmony Station, Captain Chen presented her findings to Confederation leadership and human officials. "The Vrexians are expanding aggressively in all directions, not just toward Confederation space," she explained, pointing to a holographic map. "They've conquered 3 previously independent systems in the past year alone." "What motivates them?" asked Chancellor Vorn. "Resources, primarily," Chen replied. "Their homeworld is becoming depleted. But there's also a cultural element. The Vrexians believe that strength gives them the right to take what they want. They see the Confederation's peaceful nature as weakness, and to them, weakness deserves no mercy." "And what do they think of humans?" asked Security Chief Drax. Chen's expression grew serious. "They're reassessing. After our victories, they view us as worthy opponents. That's both good and bad news. They'll be more cautious in their next attack, but they're also dedicating more resources to studying our weaknesses." "Next attack?" Chancellor Vorn's voice trembled. "You believe they will strike again?" "I'm certain of it," Chen said. "And next time they won't underestimate us." As if confirming her prediction, Vrexian activity increased along the borders of Confederation space. Minor skirmishes broke out. Probing attacks tested defenses. Human and Confederation intelligence detected a massive buildup of Vrexian military forces. On Earth, the United Defense Council met to discuss the escalating situation. Military leaders reviewed the latest intelligence reports with growing concern. "They're preparing for a major offensive," General Rivera stated, examining holographic battle projections, possibly targeting Earth directly. "Why Earth and not the Confederation?" asked a civilian council member. "Because we're the only real threat to their expansion," Rivera explained. "They want to eliminate us first. Then the Confederation will be easy prey." President Lin, who had taken office just as first contact occurred, considered the options. "What do we need to prepare?" "Everything we have," Rivera replied grimly. "And some things we don't have yet." For the next month, Earth's manufacturing capabilities shifted to military production. New ships were constructed incorporating both human innovation and adapted Confederation technology. Defensive systems were upgraded. The population was prepared for possible conflict. In Confederation space, many worlds watched these preparations with growing alarm. The humans, it seemed, were becoming more aggressive, not less. Some representatives began to wonder if they had traded one threat for another. Ambassador Leary visited Earth during this tense period. In a private meeting with President Lin, she expressed the Confederation's concerns. "Many of our people fear that Earth is using the Vrexian threat to establish military dominance in our region of space," she said carefully. President Lin listened thoughtfully before responding. "I understand their fear, but I assure you, Ambassador, Earth has no territorial ambitions in Confederation space. We seek only mutual security and prosperity." "Yet your military preparations grow daily," Leary observed. "Because the threat grows daily," Lin replied. "The Vrexians won't stop with the Confederation. If they succeed there, Earth will be next. We're fighting for our survival as much as yours." Before Leary could respond, an aide rushed into the room. "Madam President!" Urgent communication from Harmony Station. "The Vrexians have launched a major attack, not against the Confederation, but directly against Earth." Within minutes, the situation became clear. A massive Vrexian fleet had bypassed Confederation space entirely, using an uncharted jump point to approach Earth from an unexpected direction. Over 30 warships were on a direct course for humanity's homeworld. President Lin immediately activated Earth's defense protocols. Available ships moved to intercept the Vrexian fleet. Planetary defense systems were brought online. Civilians headed for shelters. On Harmony Station, the Confederation Council watched in horror as the largest space battle in recent galactic history began to unfold. "We should help them," Ambassador Leary argued passionately. "The humans came to our aid without hesitation." "Our ships are not designed for combat," countered Security Chief Drax. "We would only get in the way." Chancellor Vorn made a difficult decision. "We cannot match human combat capabilities, but we can provide medical ships, supply vessels, and evacuation support. The Confederation will not abandon its allies." Near the orbit of Mars, Earth's fleet engaged the Vrexian armada. Human ships were outnumbered 3-1, but they fought with the desperate courage of those defending their homeworld. Aboard the flagship Intrepid, Admiral Khatri directed the defense with calm determination. "Hold the line," he ordered. "Help is coming." The battle raged for hours. Several human ships were lost. The Vrexian advance slowed but continued inexorably toward Earth. Then, just as the situation seemed hopeless, new ships appeared on the tactical displays. "Admiral," called out a sensor officer. Multiple ships emerging from the lunar shadow. They're ours!" A second human fleet appeared, ships of a design no one had seen before. They moved with extraordinary speed, their weapons more powerful than anything previously deployed. Leading this new fleet was the Defiant, now upgraded with technology that merged human innovation with Confederation science. Captain Chen's voice came over the communication channel. "Sorry we're late, Admiral. It took longer than expected to integrate the new systems. The reinforcements turned the tide of battle. The Vrexian fleet, suddenly facing unexpected resistance, began to fragment. Their coordinated attack pattern broke down as human ships exploited weaknesses in their formation." From Harmony Station, the Confederation representatives watched in amazement. The human counterattack displayed combat capabilities beyond anything they had imagined possible. Ships performed maneuvers that seemed to defy physics. Weapons struck with pinpoint accuracy. Commanders made split-second decisions that changed the course of battle. "Is this normal for them?" asked a wide-eyed junior diplomat. Ambassador Leary shook her head slowly. "No, even for humans this is exceptional. They are fighting for their home." The battle ended with a decisive human victory. Over half the Vrexian fleet was destroyed or captured. The remainder retreated in disarray. Earth had suffered damage to several major cities from weapons that penetrated the defense grid, but the planet itself was secure. In the aftermath, as rescue and recovery operations began, an unexpected message arrived from the Vrexian Dominion. Their Supreme Commander requested a direct meeting with human leadership. On a neutral space station at the edge of the solar system, President Lin met with Supreme Commander Thrix of the Vrexian Dominion. The tall reptilian alien scales gleamed under the station lights as he regarded the human leader with cold, calculating eyes. "Your species has earned our respect," Thrix said without preamble. "Few can stand against the Dominion." "We didn't want this conflict," Lin replied firmly. "But we will always defend ourselves and our allies." "So we have learned," Thrix acknowledged. "The Dominion proposes a cessation of hostilities. We will withdraw from Confederation border regions if you agree not to pursue our forces." President Lin studied the Vrexian carefully. "And what guarantees do we have that you won't simply rebuild your forces and attack again?" Thrix made a gesture that might have been a shrug. "You have demonstrated your strength. Among Vrexians, strength is respected. It would not be logical to challenge you again without significant advantage." "Not good enough," Lin stated flatly. "We require formal recognition of Confederation Terret 1 year after the Battle of Earth. The galaxy was still adjusting to the new reality." The peace between the Galactic Confederation, Earth, and the Vrexian Dominion held, but not without challenges. Cultural misunderstandings continued. Old fears resurfaced periodically, yet progress was undeniable. On Harmony Station, Chancellor Vorn addressed an expanded council that now included permanent representatives from Earth and, more surprisingly, 2 Vrexian diplomats. "Today marks the first anniversary of the Trilateral Accords," she said, her voice carrying through the chamber. "Many doubted this day would come. Many feared the emergence of Deathworld species would bring only conflict to our peaceful galaxy. She gestured to the human and Vrexian representatives. Instead, we have found new paths forward together, different perspectives that, when combined, make us all stronger. Ambassador Jackson, representing Earth, had come to respect the sometimes frustratingly slow but remarkably thorough Confederation approach to decision-making. The Vrexian representatives, still uncomfortable with the concept of collective governance, nevertheless recognized the benefits of cooperation over conquest. After the formal ceremony, the real work continued. In meeting rooms throughout the station, representatives tackled the practical challenges of their new alliance. In one such room, Captain Maria Chen, now promoted to Admiral, met with military leaders from all three civilizations. The joint patrol system is working well along the outer sectors, she reported. Confederation observation ships identify potential problems. Human vessels provide rapid response when needed, and Vrexian forces handle security in their adjacent territories. Security Chief Drax nodded in agreement. Our species may have different approaches, but they complement each other effectively. The senior Vrexian officer, Commander Krell, added reluctantly, "The system is acceptable, though I still believe more direct methods would be more efficient." Admiral Chen smiled slightly. "More direct isn't always better, Commander, but we value your perspective." In another part of the station, scientists from dozens of worlds collaborated on research projects. The combination of Confederation thoroughness, human innovation, and Vrexian practicality had accelerated progress in multiple fields. Dr. Elena Rodriguez led a team developing new medical treatments based on the combined biological knowledge of all three civilizations. The Vrexian regenerative capabilities, combined with Confederation cellular manipulation techniques and human adaptive immune responses, have given us treatments that none of our species could have developed alone, she explained to visiting dignitaries. The most remarkable changes, however, were happening beyond the formal structures of government and research. Throughout Confederation space, humans had become a common sight. Their physical capabilities, once feared, were now often sought after for certain tasks. Human cultural expressions, music, art, literature, fascinated many alien species. On Earth, alien visitors were no longer confined to special facilities. Many Confederation species had established permanent embassies and cultural centers in major cities. Some brave aliens even attempted to explore Earth's natural environments, though always with appropriate safety measures. Even the Vrexians, initially interested only in resources and strategic advantage, had begun cultural exchanges with both humans and Confederation species. A small number of Vrexian youths had enrolled in Earth universities, while human military advisors trained with Vrexian defense forces. Yet beneath this progress, tensions remained. A faction within the Confederation still feared the influence of both Deathworld species. Some human political groups argued for limiting alien presence on Earth. And within the Vrexian Dominion, traditional military leaders resented the constraints of the peace accords. These underlying tensions came to a head 6 months later, when a startling discovery was made in a previously unexplored sector of space. A Confederation science vessel, accompanied by a human security team, found an ancient alien outpost of unknown origin. The technology within it was far advanced beyond anything currently known to the three civilizations. As news of the discovery spread, representatives from all three powers rushed to claim access to the site. The Confederation argued for careful scientific study. The Vrexians demanded military control to assess potential weapons. Earth proposed a joint mission with shared benefits. On Harmony Station, an emergency council session quickly became heated. "This discovery belongs to all sentient species," insisted Chancellor Vorn. "It must be studied carefully, methodically, for the benefit of all." "Such technology has strategic implications," countered the Vrexian representative. "The Dominion cannot allow potential weapons to fall into unprepared hands." Ambassador Jackson attempted a compromise. "What if we establish a joint research team? Equal representation from all three civilizations, transparent sharing of all discoveries." The debate continued for days without resolution. Old suspicions resurfaced. The fragile trust built over the past 18 months began to fracture. Then, unexpectedly, a fourth voice entered the discussion. a small, seemingly insignificant species called the Novel, known primarily for their trading activities, requested permission to address the council. Ambassador Techley of the Novel stood before the assembled representatives. His small stature and unimpressive appearance led many to underestimate him. "The great powers argue while overlooking an important perspective," he said, his translated voice surprisingly strong. "The Novel have traded throughout this region for millennia. The ancient site you discovered belongs to the predecessors, who vanished 50,000 years ago." This revelation stunned the council into silence. Techley continued. "Our oldest records speak of the predecessors' downfall. They were an incredibly advanced civilization that spanned hundreds of systems, and they destroyed themselves through conflict. Archive data was shared showing fragments of the predecessors' history. According to Novel records, the ancient civilization had split into competing factions, each using increasingly powerful weapons until they triggered a catastrophic collapse of their entire society. The technology you have found is powerful, yes," Techley concluded. "But it comes with a warning from history. Will you repeat their mistakes?" The council chamber remained silent after the Novel ambassador finished speaking. The representatives from Earth, the Confederation, and the Vrexian Dominion looked at each other with new awareness. Chancellor Vorn was the first to speak. "Perhaps we have been thinking too narrowly. This discovery affects not just our three civilizations, but all species in the galaxy." In the days that followed, a new approach emerged. A Galactic Heritage Council would be established, with representatives from all known spacefaring species, not just the three major powers. This council would oversee the study of the ancient site, ensuring that discoveries were shared and that potentially dangerous technologies were carefully controlled. This solution, which would have been unthinkable before the emergence of humanity into galactic affairs, represented a new way of thinking. It balanced the Confederation's inclusivity, humanity's pragmatism, and even incorporated aspects of Vrexian strength-based philosophy by acknowledging that true strength came from unity rather than dominance. As preparations for the first meeting of the Galactic Heritage Council proceeded, another significant development occurred. A small scout ship from Earth exploring beyond the boundaries of known space encountered a previously unknown species. Initial scans indicated their homeworld had environmental conditions even harsher than Earth or the Vrexian homeworld. This new species had developed spaceflight despite gravity nearly twice that of Earth and an atmosphere containing elements toxic to most known species. "Another Deathworld species," murmured Ambassador Leary when she heard the news. "What will they be like?" The question echoed through the corridors of power in all three civilizations. Would this new species be peaceful like the Confederation, adaptable like humans, or aggressive like the Vrexians? How would they fit into the emerging galactic order? Rather than reacting with fear as they had when humans first appeared, the Confederation proposed a carefully planned first contact mission. Earth offered to lead the diplomatic team, given their experience as recent newcomers to galactic society. The Vrexians, surprisingly, volunteered to provide security for the mission, arguing that they best understood potential threats from Deathworld psychology. This cooperative approach to the new species symbolized how far interstellar relations had evolved. The emergence of humanity had catalyzed a transformation in how the galaxy's civilizations interacted with each other. 2 months later, representatives from the new species, called the Dorvan, arrived at Harmony Station. They were massive beings with silicon-based biology, capable of withstanding environmental conditions that would quickly kill most other forms of life. Yet despite their intimidating appearance, they displayed curiosity and thoughtfulness. During the formal welcome ceremony, the Dorvan representative addressed the assembled delegates. "We have observed your civilizations from afar for some time," the translator conveyed. "We hesitated to make contact because we saw primarily two types of worlds, those too gentle to understand us and those too aggressive to trust." The Dorvan,